we write the wrong book or give the wrong talk. And when I say wrong, there's nothing wrong. What I mean by that is we haven't reverse engineered the goal that we want. We haven't reverse engineered the thought leader asset, whether it's a talk, a video, a book, for that outcome. So what I mean by that is sometimes people say, I want to share my story. If your only goal is to inspire someone or, do that, then that's good. You write the memoir, write your story. But if your goal is thought leadership, if your goal is to attract clients through your book or your thought leadership, if it's to generate revenue that is significant beyond book sales, if you're really going for that, then you don't want to really write a memoir. What you want to write is what I've called the high converting thought leader book, which is
Welcome back to Creating Powerful Impact. I'm your host, Shay Wheat, and today we're diving into the beautiful intersection of purpose, neuroscience, and thought leadership. And I am joined by the incredible Sara Connell, who is a best-selling author, a TEDx speaker, and founder of Thought Leader Academy. Now, she has survived a 7-year fertility challenge to building a multi-million-dollar empire. And honestly, Sara is just a true example of turning your personal story into a powerful impact. That's why we're excited to have her on here on Creating Powerful Impact. She's also been featured on Oprah, Good Morning America, and in the New York Times. So today we are going to be talking a little bit about the behind the scenes on how she scaled not just a business, but a movement. Welcome to the Creating Powerful Impact stage. How are you?
thanks so much for having me.
I'm excited because I want to chat a little bit about like what was the moment you realized your story could become your brand?
What's so interesting is that I never would have thought, especially I think a lot of us are raised, and I hear this from our clients all the time. We think usually our story is not very interesting, even if we know how extraordinary it is and we are and what we've overcome or what we've experienced. And so, what the irony in my answer is going to be that I realized it because of someone else telling her story. And I was working in a first job out of college, single woman, supporting myself. And unfortunately, it was in the height of the Me Too era. So, it was a really toxic, abusive environment. And it was really destroying me from the inside out. I was letting it destroy me from the inside out. And I'd spiraled into this pretty serious eating disorder, and my mental health is crumbling. And I knew I was in trouble, but I didn't know what to do about it because I'm supporting myself out of college and on my own, and I feel like trapped in this job. And I'm flying back from Boston to Chicago where I lived, and there's my flight's being called down the corridor, and I see a bookstore. And what I really wanted was to be a writer, not working in advertising. And books were my solace, my escape, my friends, my, guides, all the things. So I ran in the bookstore. There's no time to read the back of the book. I randomly grabbed a book called Holy Hunger by Margaret Bullitt Jonas. Never heard of her, never knew what it was about, started reading it on the plane, and I didn't stop reading the whole flight, the whole taxi ride, up all night, crying, holding the book. And it was just this woman shared her story. It was a different story than mine. She shared her story about trauma she'd experienced, about an eating disorder that she developed, and how she got better. And by the time I finished reading the book, the lights, coming in, and I'm like, one of those nights that we've all had probably some version of. And I said, that's it. I'm not going to do this anymore. Even if I'm on the street, even if I don't know what I need to do, and I'm not going to do this anymore. And her story gave me the courage to leave the job, go get help for my health. And it taught me that one person, not even just a celebrity, it wasn't Oprah, it wasn't Brene Brown, one person sharing their story can save a life.
Mm.
And that was the day I decided to spend the rest of my life paying that gift forward. So I was like, I will write my books that I hope will be in the Boston airport or wherever airport when someone needs it. And when that happened, and I was very blessed to get, on Oprah and New York Times and all these great things with that first book, I just vowed I was going to help others who had an important story, mission, message, modality, something to share that not enough people know about. And I was going to make sure that they got into the hands of the people that need them.
Yeah, that's so amazing and powerful. How, what would you say, or how would you say that you help others really turn that personal transformation into thought leadership?
Yeah, this is it's such a good question and an important one because so many times people, and I've been this person, we we write the wrong book or give the wrong talk. And when I say wrong, there's nothing wrong. What I mean by that is we haven't reverse engineered the goal that we want. We haven't reverse engineered the thought leader asset, whether it's a talk, a video, a book, for that outcome. So what I mean by that is sometimes people say, I want to share my story. I had this experience. I went through this thing. I had this crisis. I got out. I want to share, right? Which is so beautiful. That's what this woman did that helped me. However, if your only goal is to inspire someone or, do that, then that's good. You write the memoir, write your story. But if your goal is thought leadership, if your goal is to attract clients through your book or your thought leadership, if it's to generate revenue that is significant beyond book sales, which I advise for anyone who's writing a book because books are a small ticket item, and we always talk the business behind the book.
Yeah.
If you're really going for that, which the people I work with really want the book to be a piece of their movement, as you said in the beginning, then you don't want to really write a memoir. What you want to write is what I've called the high converting thought leader book, which is just a type of book I made up after reverse engineering 100 New York Times bestsellers. I literally went back to 100 books that I loved that were nonfiction, thought leadery kind of books. And I said, what did they all do? I was procrastinating from writing while doing this. That's why I was doing this insane exercise, because I didn't want to deal with my own stuff and write my own stuff. So that's productive procrastination is what I call that. But the good thing that came out of it is I developed a framework, which, we can talk about if we want to, but a way to set up a book so that it really is not only positioning you as a thought leader, but it is letting people know you are their thought leader. You are the one they want to lead their thoughts, then their actions, then their results. And so I think the answer is how you transition to thought leader. Think about becoming a thought leader. You want to think about the mission and the transformation versus solely inspiration.
That's so good. Like you say reverse engineer, and that's a
Yeah.
huge word for me because when we're looking at events, we're reverse engineering based on the offer and what is the purpose and intention and why are we doing it in the first place? And like you
It's
reverse engineer it. So to have somebody come and talk about it from the perspective of a book and a thought leader just makes me so happy. Oh my
yes,
gosh. I love it. So maybe we can transition a little bit into the neuroscience piece because that
yeah,
that has like, okay, I want to hear more. Um,
right.
what are some of like the most common earning blocks you see for
Yeah.
people?
Well, the reason, so we're, as far as I know, just that I've been able to find, we're the only neuroscience-based thought leader coaching, group in the world in terms of, people teaching books and speaking. I don't, there may be others, but we haven't found them. And the reason we incorporate neuroscience into everything that we do is because there are so many. The minute usually someone says, I'm going to write a book, I'm going to be a TEDx speaker, I'm going to go do paid keynotes, I'm going to fill in the blank of the bigger stage, the bigger platform, the bigger visibility, 9 times out of 10, and I'm certainly this person, you are going to be besieged. You have, I think Harvard came out and said you have 4.6 seconds to enjoy the thrill of the idea. And then it's like, let's go. And you basically get jumped in the back alley of your brain with all of, we call them the gremlins, right? And so we often call it the inner critic, resistance. It's essentially all those parts of us that are scared and think, who are you to get on a stage or write a book? What, you're not a celebrity, or what will my family think? Or what, I mean, there are, I call the gremlins greatest hits. They start setting up the amps, they start tuning the guitars, like it's coming. And so yes, we can will our way through and kind of make ourselves do it. And that kind of, we could. But what really works and what's going to be actually sustainable and get that stuff out of the way more permanently, in my experience, are neuroscience techniques that treat the subconscious mind, because that's where usually that stuff is living. I'm not safe, I'm not allowed, I'm not worthy, maybe business PTSD, we call it in our community. Like, you tried something and it didn't work, you launch flopped, your event didn't convert, your book, no one read it. I mean, that stuff is
Yeah.
traumatizing to
Yeah.
people. I mean, I don't even put a lowercase t on some, especially depending on how bad it was. And so we got to work through that, or we get to work through it. And so I use various modalities. I'm trained and have, people in our groups working that are trained in things like neuro linguistic programming. If people have heard of NLP, which is really using wonderful sequences that retrain your brain to, even if you have had a bad experience, to expect success instead of the trauma that you had before, or to let go of those ancestral and family. There's so much stuff in the subconscious mind that can really hinder and sabotage our results and our freedom and our joy, even sometimes. And so working with NLP, or there's also emotional freedom technique, which is also called tapping. If anyone listening has done that technique, it's really, really effective. Hypnosis, which is just self-hypnosis, not me like creepy hypnotizing anyone. That would be really weird. But doing falling asleep at night. We have whole like guided tracks that put your brain into the alpha theta state, which is called the genius zone. So if you want to be getting your book ideas or inspiration or motivation, like we're falling asleep to that kind of work, and doing that rewiring for the brain for genius, for inspiration, and for financial abundance. Because you asked what are the biggest blocks, and I gave a really long-winded way into that. But I mean, the blocks are, I have to struggle to make money.
Yeah.
Um, Other people can have financial success, not me. Uh, Even maybe wanting money is bad, which is
Mhm.
just a thing we can get. I grew up in a religious household that was very much about you shouldn't care about material things. You should never care about money. If anyone uses the word wealth or rich, that's like a bad word. I mean, so who knows how we're, depending on what your conditioning is. I had lots of work to do. So those, and even stuff like I'm a woman, if that has stuff around how you might have been raised or what was modeled to you around how much you can earn, or I'm not allowed to make more than my sister, like nonsense, crazy stuff goes on in that subconscious mind. And so the big money blocks are basically those limiting ideas. I call them like the money negative programming that we may have to some extent or another. The way we know if we don't have any blocks is that we're making all the money we have ever wanted to make.
Mm.
That's how we know. I was in a training and a woman said, I don't have any blocks. This is stupid. And the trainer said, awesome. So what is your like ultimate amount of wealth that you've wanted? This is a financial thing. And she said, how much would you love to have? And the woman said, oh, I'd love to like have $1 million a year. And she's like, great. So you have that, right? And the one's like, no, I make, like 50,000 or whatever it was. She's like, yeah, you have blocks, honey.
That's a
Like,
block.
so take a
Yeah.
seat, pull out a pen and get ready to do some work. And so I don't, I don't pathologize having blocks. It's like we just, that's just kind of part of, it's like saying, oh, I have to brush my teeth. It's like, yeah, you have teeth, they get dirty, we brush them, like.
Yeah, that's just what it is. Would you happen to have like some daily mindset practices that you could teach us for starting that rewire process?
Totally. Okay, so you tell me with Shay, with this group, because I want to see like, do you want like a power tool or a gentle entry? Because I've got a little system that is very, very effective, but it is a little more of a commitment. And then I've got something super simple. So tell me what feels best for
I
this
mean,
crowd.
let's go.
I
Like,
think we should power. I'm getting a vibe. Well, certainly from you, but I'm getting a vibe. Anyone that's following you here is
yeah.
ready for like a more advanced thing. So this is a combination. This combines multiple neuroscience techniques, and it isn't like it's not going to take you a long time every morning, but it is something that the way I teach it is you do a 90-day cycle.
Okay.
So I'm just going to walk you through how it works, and then anyone listening can decide if you want to just try it out. I will say the results are pretty astounding. And so I'm on my fifth cycle of 90 days because as soon as I did the first one, pretty much everything I set down as a goal in this system happened. And I said, well, I'm not going to not do this. So what it involves is deciding on anywhere between 1 and 10 things that you would love to see happen. If you like the word manifest, great, achieve, if it's a goal. So in this 90-day period, what are 1 to 10 things? It's hard to do more than 10. So somewhere in there. And I mean, Shay, do you want to play? Like, do you want to pick what? I mean, do you want to like do this in real time? Do you have one that you want to share that we can like workshop?
Sure. We
Yeah.
just launched one of our newest programs. It's getting that out to the masses. So it's a
Amazing.
master class. Um,
Amazing.
program. Yeah.
Okay, so you'd have this masterclass program, and you have a certain number. And if you don't want to share specifics, like I'm absolutely putting you on the spot. But if you did, let's say if you said we want to have 100 people take this or 1,000 people take, is there any number that's
Yeah.
important to you?
100.
Right? Yeah, 100. Beautiful. So it's like, so what you would do in every morning, and you'd start. This is a Bob Proctor thing. You'd say, "I'm so happy and grateful now." So anyone that's heard, that kind of, you'd start off on a piece of paper, writing out handwritten, "I am so happy and grateful now that we have 100 people who have enrolled in this new masterclass." So you're claiming it in the present tense. There's brain science behind that. We all probably heard, "I'm so happy and grateful now. If 100 people have enrolled in this masterclass," and then you say, by what is it now? July. We're at the beginning of a new quarter. So whenever you're listening to this, 3 months from when you're listening, if it's July, August, September, by September 30th, 2025, whatever your time period's going to be, then you will read it out loud. So you've written it with your hand. Then you read it out loud. And while you're reading it out loud, sort of visualize. So, Shay, is there some image? They call it an anchor image in NLP. Is there some image, like, do you have a stripe screen where you would see those 100 enrollment?
Yep.
Like, okay, great. So what Shay, you're doing this. "I'm so happy and grateful now. 100 people have registered for this new masterclass by September 2025." And in your mind, you're seeing all those,
All the
however much it
names.
is, all the names and those purchases come through, and you see this whole big screen. You have to hit if you're on Stripe, anyone uses Stripe, you have to hit next because not 100 fit on the screen. So you're like, "Ooh, look at that, pages and pages." So that's your anchor image, right? And then you are running your finger. This is really weird, but there's science behind it. You run your finger over that same sentence. "I'm so happy and grateful now. 100 people have purchased this masterclass." And you are feeling the predominant feeling or feelings that you will feel when you've hit that 100. So what is the main emotion that you'll feel when 100 people have registered?
A lot of joy.
Joy, right? So you're going to see how much you can conjure like that feeling. So the visualization helps because you're picturing all those pages and all those names, all these people you get to help and inspire, and you're feeling joy. And maybe, where does joy usually lodge for you in your body? Is there a particular place that you feel joy?
Yeah, it's like right kind of the gut or, right below, right here. I don't know what is that.
Right. That's kind of maybe solar plexus, gut. Okay,
Yeah,
great.
exactly.
Great. So you just would be like seeing if you can actually generate yourself a little bit of that feeling tone, because the feeling and the emotion is like a magnet for the synchronicities, for people suddenly they're, if you're running ads or whatever, however people are finding out about it, they're like, "Oh, what is this? Oh, I need that." Purchase, right?
Hmm.
So the feeling tone. And then the last step is you think about, what would I need to believe for this to be inevitable? Like, what would have to be true? So what would that be for you? If you're 100 people are doing this by September, what would have to be true?
Ask it a different
It's
way.
a weird question. I know
Yeah.
it's doing something in our brain. So I'm like, what would happen for me if it was my product and it was 100? I would say, well, I'd have to believe that people are really looking for this solution. I'd have to believe that this is really different than the other things that are coming across their radar. I know it's different in terms of what we'll give them, but that they'll even be able, that our marketing is really differentiated. Have to believe, people are hungry and excited to get this result. So it'd be like whatever the beliefs are that match 100 sales, like no brainer,
Yep.
right? So is there anything that pops to
Yeah,
mind?
that's very in alignment. I just spoke to somebody yesterday and they're like, "You're not charging enough. I'm not telling you to charge more, but I'm gonna buy now
It's like,
because
"I'm going to get this before you get smart and
before
realize these
you
should be like three
yeah.
times more expensive." Okay, I love that. So you say, people think this is a no-brainer, that people think this should be even worth, they can see that it's even worth more than we're charging, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I love that. So the reason behind the belief part at the end is that our research shows that our results will not match our desire vision, they will match our belief. And so what we want to do is start really cultivating that. Now, if you want to really nerd out, you could record yourself affirming this statement and the belief that goes with it. And you could even, play it while you're brushing your teeth. Or, I mean, you can really like go all in and
Yeah.
put it to alpha theta wave music that you can get for free online and program it in your brain. No, none of our clients do that. It's just truly this step. You write it, you speak it and visualize it, you run your fingers over it and feel it and affirm the belief that matches it, that would make it true.
Makes sense.
So you do that every day for 90 days, and you could do it with more than one goal or one goal. And it has been astounding what has unfolded for people, like the amount of, especially a lot of ease, like things just showing up. And really, again, it's not magic. It's that we're programming our brain, the reticular activating system in the brain, to filter for this experience. And we're aligning our, you want to call it frequency, our energy, our beliefs with being the match to this happening now by these kind of repetition, this affirmation. We're thinking it, seeing it, feeling it, speaking it, believing it. That's
It's
really
engaging everything. It's
it is
engaging all of the senses and the full body experience
right.
to start moving it forward,
Right.
moving it
So it's
out
an
to space. Yeah.
accelerant. Because I used
Yeah.
to be really good at visualizing it. And I'd be
Yeah.
really good at like making a vision board, but I was still not getting results or getting results as quickly. And especially around money. And I thought, God, what is, but I wasn't doing the feeling it as somatic, wasn't really feeling it in the body and generating that kind of, it's a electrical pulse, really. Joe Dispenza's work is very much about measuring that coherence. And I wasn't matching the beliefs. And so I had a lot of like push pull. They call it chaotic vibration in the energy. So it's like part of you is like, I want this. Another part of you is like, so you start to just dissolve. It's like a little bit of like spiritual Drano.
So it's definitely like a couple of different layers on top of each other. It's the thinking, the visualizing,
Yeah.
the bringing it into the body, and the belief
Yeah.
all coming together
Yeah.
to go in one direction to
Yeah.
support you. Okay, got it. Okay, super excited to, do this for
Try
the
it
next
out.
90 days. And I mean, shoot, it's 90 days. Why not?
I'm excited because I bet your 100's going to happen before the 90 days are up. So I definitely, we need to keep in touch about that.
Absolutely, absolutely. I would love to kind of move forward. So now, you're growing your business. You've done your thing
Yeah.
for 90 days. Now you're growing and scaling. I'm
Yes.
curious to know, like, what were some systems that were kind of game changers for you as you started to scale?
Yeah, so I think this is going to be a bit of a boring answer because I know that we hear this stuff all the time, but it's the knowing it and doing it are two separate things. A lot of times for me, it's like, I know this would be good for me to post every day online. Am I doing, so take this with a know it, do it grain of salt for everybody. But I mean, truly part of scaling for me was actually having some kind of an offer that wouldn't bottleneck myself or the team. I mean, it's so basic, but it's so true. If you're doing one-on-one work and there's only so many hours in your time, there's a point at which, unless that gets you, to the number that you want from a scaling perspective, that it's just not gonna work, right? So coming up with a one-to-many, as people like to say, something where
Yeah.
you could have really unlimited or vast numbers more of people that you serve while still, providing tremendous value. So for me, it was going from the beginning, I was editing every person's book myself. I was, it was wonderful, but it was like, there's a certain number of people you can work with at a time when you're coaching and editing their books and then finding them a book deal and all that. Then it became, oh, now we get to have a team of, so this can involve people, right? Is there the who, not how idea? So then I
Yes.
got to bring in these incredible colleagues who are brilliant book editors and coaches and train them in the methodology I'd been doing one-on-one. And so, okay, now they're working one-on-one on the book editing and the book proposal, that kind of thing. And I'm doing the strategic mentorship, right? So, okay, cool. That changes things. And certainly having systems with as much automation as possible around billing, around contracts, I mean, all that stuff. And a fun game most of you have probably played is just time log for a week, like write down everything you're doing and you see what of any of this list could someone else do,
Right.
right? And if you play the, zone of genius, excellent, competent, incompetent, right? Anything that we're incompetent at, obviously we usually have outsourced because like I don't know how to code, so I don't try to build a website.
Right.
Okay, if we don't. But often we're hanging on to incompetent and excellent. And then we don't even get the zone of genius time. And so
Yeah.
that certainly has been me and can still be me on any given, phase where I need to go back and look and do that exercise again and say,
Yeah.
ah,
I think it creeps in, doesn't it? Like you're like, oh wait, hold on. I probably need to do a time edit again because
yeah. Yeah,
it's
big fan of the time audit. It's illuminating. There's never a there's never been an occasion where I've done a time audit and not had an aha about something that could change. Either something you just say, look, we're just not going to offer this. If it's not about delegating or hiring, it may just be this is taking up a lot of bandwidth and it's not returning on me, because we can also edit, an audit return on investment of the things we offer. That can be
yeah.
illuminating as well.
So speaking about ROIs, those return
Yeah.
on investments, how like what really is an ROI on writing a book?
Oh, I love this so much because I am obsessed. There's such a pattern in publishing, the way that a lot of publishers work and book, you know, coaching programs, where it's just about let's get your book done or
Yeah.
even published. And even if there's support for the launch, you basically have 1 to 3 months, you launch your book and then it sits there and does nothing. And I've had that. I'm on book 7 and I've absolutely had this experience myself, even knowing what I know as a total like nerd around books and publishing, because we just don't have a lot of modeling for how to make a book consistently ROI. And I had a client come to me and said, he's like, look, I want to write this book and then I want it to ROI forever. That's what I
Yeah.
want. And I said, that's what everybody deserves. And it really piqued something in me. And so currently in our world, in all of our, trainings and things, where we have a monetize your book club now. So the entire year in this club, it's like a membership, is the whole point is to make daily sales with your book, and to have a way and a mechanism where it's top of mind for you or your team to come in and have a strategy of the month. We do everything from getting book tour sponsors to paid speaking engagements to doing book bundles. So you're selling the book plus like a paid keynote or a consulting or coaching. So many cool book talk, using influencer. It really is endless the way the books can return on the investment.
Hmm.
So the way I'll context this is, number one, if anyone's listening and didn't get a good ROI on a book, we hear you. I get it, been there. And this is my current mission in the world. My first mission was like, let me help people get in the airport bookstores. Now I'm like, I want an ROI for every single author, like a good ROI. I'm talking, 100x multiples of what we invest in the books, because books take time and money. And so we need to get a return on that. It's important and it's deserved. So I think, though, of not just, this is one big sort of paradigm, I guess I would say. Most people think about the ROI on the book is sales of the book, which is absolutely yes. But that is a rough road. Again,
Yeah.
if you're expecting this book for a couple dollars after Amazon, Barnes and Noble discount it to, especially if you invested in, significant marketing or publishing, you're talking about somewhere probably between $10,000 and $20,000 at least that you've put into this book. So getting that back on $5 the book sale royalties is a long haul. I'm not about that. People need speed. So this is when we want to think about the other doors that writing a book opens. So that's where we are looking at things like client attraction to a high ticket offer through the book, filling up masterclass, creating a membership, a course, a coaching program, retreats. A lot of our clients love doing, like I do, live events, things that you help people with, creating high converting, lucrative, profitable events,
Mhm.
paid speaking, partnerships, affiliate thing. There's so many ways to monetize, but we kind of think about, well, let's sell more books. And then people get very discouraged and resentful and understandably never wish they never did it to begin with.
Yeah.
So I think part of it is opening our minds about what is like what counts as the book's ROI. Like my book behind me, The Science of Getting Rich for Women, that book has produced multiple six figures in profit. Not Book sales have been great. It's fine, but it's mainly through people who've read the book and said, "Wait, I want to work with you,"
Right.
and invested in like our $30,000 mastermind or our $16,000 thought. Well, then you're talking about, that book is, my goal with the book is it is paid for week one. Week of launch, everything I've invested is returned. And now we're experimenting because I'm such a dork in our community on how many people we can have make the whole amount they invest in the book before the book's even published. So
Oh,
yeah,
fun.
so this is a
Yeah.
game I'm in. So I mean, people want to play because who doesn't want that result? And so now we're trying to do it before the book is, and we've just had the first few people achieve that goal. And it's happened by leveraging the book, the upcoming book, and getting speaking engagements that led to client sales. And so the book's not even out, and they've already attracted 90K, 50K, 120K out of things through this book that isn't even out. So then when the book comes out, you're just all in profit for the rest of your time. So it's part the way to think about ways to monetize the book up front. And then the reason we created the club is because it's just so easy after a few months to think, oh, people have heard about it. What am I going to do with this thing? And like, no, that's forever. We get to return on this forever.
Yeah. Oh, so fun. I love it. Um, I'm curious if we're gonna go back a little bit to like the movement, the thought leadership
Yeah.
pieces of it. What advice would you give to somebody who wants to lead a movement?
Yeah. So our fall event coming up in New York City in October, depending on when people are listening, is called Women Starting Movements. And we definitely welcome everyone. We have men come to this event. We've done this event many years. It just felt important to claim because there's so much undertow for women often of, your voice isn't important and you shouldn't take up. So it was intentionally named that, but it's for anyone starting a movement. And, you know, it's like that can feel like a very ambiguous term. What is a
Yeah.
movement, right? So the way I think about it is that there is a mission that you have, a result that you want to create, usually a change in the world for the better in some way. And a book and a talk and a TED Talk presentation and a course, all of those are ways that the movement happens, right? Someone gets the transformation in different ways through those different experiences or doorways. And so I think the movement, if we just think about the word, is there's motion involved. So it's like the world is here, or my industry is here, or this person is here, and I'm going to move them to a more desired place, right? That they desire and that they want to be. And so leading a movement, I do think it is very helpful to have a book as a flag in the ground because it's not like mandatory. But if you look at Brene Brown and Gary
Yeah.
Vee and Michelle Obama, every time they get the new big idea, even in a world with a 2.9-second attention span, that is what the stats are right now. I mean, we have like screwed our brains with these in a real way. But the neuroscience research shows that people can process a book cover in 1.8 seconds, meaning in 1.8 seconds. So under the 2.9-second attention span barrier, it's like the sound barrier, right? In 1.8, someone can see your title, your name, if your photo's on it or not, and they will unconsciously think expert, trust, authority, whether that's warranted or not, because there's some not good books out there, but a lot of them are really great. And so that flag in the ground of you owning the idea, owning the expertise, claiming that this is the movement, that is what you all the even super big household name people still they will run write the new book as soon as they get the idea because that is the anchor to say this is the new message, this is what the movement is, and it can be processed with authority in such a quick amount of time. Then they'll go speak on the circuit, they'll go on the podcast, they'll do the things, launch the new course, whatever might go with it. So I think leading a movement is giving people a doorway, whether it's through a talk or a book or some way, YouTube channel, that they can experience what the message is that you're inviting them into. What is the point of this movement? And then making it so enrolling and exciting for people to want to join in. And how does that happen? It's about helping people solve a problem or achieve a dream.
Ah, love it. Love it. I mean, Sarah, I think we could go and continue to talk and have so many other new ahas. We didn't even get to like some of your framework, so perhaps you can come back. That would be
Well,
amazing.
I want to because Jay, I want to talk about events because that is like the cornerstone of so much of how we lead our movement. So we have more to talk about
We
for
have
sure.
way more to talk about. We'll have to do a part two. We'll schedule it and we'll get it on the calendar for sure. But I just want to say like everybody listening, like, good gosh, from building, Sara here's building strategic systems to, rewriting financial blueprints through neuroscience. I know she's helped thousands step into that thought leadership role without, and scaling without losing their soul. You definitely want to connect with her. What is the best way for them to connect with you, Sara? And do you happen to have a gift for our audience?
100 always. We love abundance, love gifts. Thank you. So I'm always available for DMs if you want to come over to Instagram and send me a direct message with any, ideas, questions. If you need something dissolved in your subconscious, it's at Sara Connell, which is SaraConnell. And then on our YouTube channel, it's at Thought Leader Media. And we have a lot of those neuroscience, like things you can go to sleep to. Everything's free. We've got really cool, how to figure out your book idea, how to get paid as a speaker. We have all kinds of great resources and trainings there, and it's all just available and free to everybody. So please feel free to visit us there. And the gift I have for those of you that do want to do a book, or you did a book and didn't get the results, maybe that you wanted, been there. Again, 7 books in at this point. That is our 7 steps to writing a revenue generating, client attracting, best-selling book. So that's that reverse engineering piece that we talked about a little bit earlier. And we have a really great, very, very proven, we've taken thousands of people through this roadmap. And quite quickly, you'll see how to figure out your idea, how to make sure it's designed for those outcomes you want, what goes in that flippin' book, right? How do you figure out what's going in this thing? And then, really take you all the way to outlining it and getting the words on the page. So super excited to share that with anybody who's feeling like you have a book in you.
Perfect. So we will have the link to that in the show notes. Make sure that you go ahead and pick that up. Last question for you, Sara, is what's one truth you want every listener to remember from today's conversation?
Oh, wow. I didn't say this explicitly, but I heard it earlier today from another thought leader, a woman who's climbed Everest multiple. She's like done every kind of climb you can do on Everest, which God bless, because I do not feel called to that, but I am very inspired. And it's just been with me all day. So I feel like I just need to say it and share it here in case it hits for anybody else. It's that fear is inevitable, but complacency is what will actually kill you.
Yep.
And I was like, oof.
Oh, good.
I was like, that one went in. That gave me a little reckoning. I could take a walk around that later. So the invitation, it's a truth, because I think we all recognize, we think fear is the thing, to avoid, but fear is often actually just a, piece of the landscape on the way to really becoming who we came here to be. And the complacency and the avoidance of that is what we would regret at the end.
Yeah. Brilliant. Brilliant. Sara, thank you so much for being with us. And I want to thank our audience for listening to another episode of Creating Powerful Impact. I hope this episode really sparked something in you. Please feel free to share it with a fellow leader, leave us a review, and subscribe so we can all rise together. Until next time, have an outstanding rest of your day. Take care. Thank you so much for listening to the Creating Powerful Impact podcast. If you are a successful coach, speaker, author, or thought leader who would like to be on this program, simply visit creatingpowerfulimpact.com/guest. If you are someone who got something out of this interview, would you please do me a favor and share this episode on social media? Just do a quick screenshot with your phone and text it to a friend or post it on your socials. Also, if you know somebody that would be a great guest, tag them on social media to let them know about the show and include the hashtag Creating Powerful Impact. I love seeing all of your posts and great guest selections. We are regularly putting out new episodes and content. To make sure you don't miss any episodes, go ahead and subscribe. Your thumbs up, ratings, and reviews go a long way to help promote the show, and they really mean a lot to me and my team. Want to know more about us? Head on over to our website, graceandeaseproductions.com, or follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram. Just look for Grace and Ease Productions on your favorite platform. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.